Long before the world believed women belonged in the shadows, there was a kingdom where women stood at the front. This was Dahomey, a proud African kingdom where courage was not measured by gender, but by the strength of one's heart. And at the center of that kingdom rose a woman whose name would echo through history, Queen Hangbi, the Woman King. Her story began quietly. She was not born into softness or luxury. She grew up listening to war drums, watching her people defend their land, and learning that love for one's nation was the highest form of devotion. In Dahomey, enemies came often. Slave raiders, rival kingdoms, foreign traders hungry for power. Danger was never far. And one day, when the king fell in battle, the throne stood empty. The council hesitated. A woman had never ruled alone before. But the people looked to Hangbi, calm, fierce, unafraid. She did not beg for power. She did not shout. She simply stood and said, "If Dahomey is to survive, I will lead it." And she did. But Queen Hangbi knew something crucial. The world did not fear Dahomey enough. So she made a decision that would change African history forever. She created an army, not of men, but of women. They were called the Agojie. At first, they were few. Women from farming villages. Orphans. Widows. Girls who had lost everything to war. Women who had been told all their lives that they were weak. Queen Hangbi gave them a new truth. "You are not weak," she told them. "You are warriors who have not yet been awakened." Training was brutal. They ran barefoot through thorn fields. They climbed walls taller than fear itself. They learned to fight without mercy, but also without hatred. The Agojie were taught discipline, loyalty, and unity. They did not fight for glory. They fought for home. Every morning, they trained as the sun rose. Every night, they sharpened blades and sang songs of sisterhood. They ate together, bled together, protected one another like family. Slowly, rumors spread. They said Dahomey had an army of women who felt no pain. Women who charged into battle without fear. Women who did not retreat. Enemies laughed until they met them. The first battle changed everything. When rival warriors stormed Dahomey's borders, they expected to see men. Instead, they saw women advancing, faces calm, eyes burning with purpose. The Agojie struck with speed and precision. They fought as one body, one spirit. By sunset, the battlefield was silent. The invaders fled, and fear was born. Soon, neighboring kingdoms whispered the name Dahomey with caution. Foreign traders wrote letters warning others never to provoke the Woman King. But Queen Hangbi did not rule with cruelty. She ruled with care. She visited villages. She listened to mothers. She rewarded bravery and punished injustice. She reminded her warriors that strength without compassion becomes destruction. As years passed, the Agojie grew into the most disciplined fighting force in West Africa. They defended the kingdom against slavers. They protected children and elders. They stood between Dahomey and annihilation. And yet, behind the armor, they were still human. They laughed. They told stories by firelight. They held hands before battle and whispered prayers to the ancestors. They were sisters. When Queen Hangbi finally stepped away from the throne, her legacy did not fade. Other kings continued her vision. The Agojie remained, stronger, sharper, feared. Even when European forces arrived centuries later with guns and arrogance, they were shocked. They had never seen anything like this. Women who charged gunfire without hesitation. Women who refused surrender. Women who chose death before disgrace. Colonial officers wrote in disbelief, "These women fight like demons and die like legends." But they were not demons. They were daughters, mothers, sisters. They were African women defending their world. When the kingdom of Dahomey eventually fell, the Agojie did not disappear. They lived on in memory, in bloodlines, in stories passed from grandmother to child. Today, when people say women are too soft to lead, too gentle to fight, too fragile to protect nations, Africa answers with Dahomey, with the Woman King, with the Agojie, a reminder that strength has never belonged to one gender, only to those brave enough to rise. And somewhere in the echoes of history, the drums still beat, not for war, but for women who changed the world.